Jalen Rose, the last time we were talking about the Thunder, Dame Lillard sent him home from the logo. Well, they're back in the news, but still not good news. Paul George had rotator cuff surgery and will miss some of training camp and is likely going to be back for the regular season. And Russell Westbrook had a procedure done to repair a torn ligament in his finger on his left hand and another minor procedure done on his repaired right knee. Jalen, what do you think about all this?
Thunder fans should be ecstatic about hearing this news.
Whoa, okay.
Because when you lose the way they did to the Portland Trail Blazers, so many people had the doom and gloom overtone based on what the future might look like, led by Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and Steven Adams, because they lost in the first round again. And I like to make sure I do this distinction. It's one thing for a player to not feel well like Joel Embiid. It's another thing totally for a guy like Paul George to have shoulder surgery.
Yeah, he wasn't feeling right.
At the end of the season. And how many games did he miss? None.
During the playoffs.
Correct.
Yeah.
So he was still out there playing on a shoulder that needed surgery and another one that he's going to get basically repaired as well. And same thing for Russ. Athletes don't just willingly go under the knife.
No.
Okay, so for both of these guys to need surgery as soon as the season ends shows me that there's still some upside to the prospects of the potential of what both of these guys can accomplish in the future, because I had them going a lot further than they actually went this year. When you're going against two guys that need surgery right after the season ends, it now gives some credibility to me to why Paul George, who I basically had third in the MVP race, didn't play like that in the playoffs. Russell Westbrook, exactly what you just said. It's the gift and the curse of exposing your injury.
Exactly.
Because usually what ends up happening is cameras are everywhere. You don't have to expose it, because as soon as you hit it, you're like, and then everybody knows. But he did a great job of playing through it and not allowing us to see it, which is
talk
double.
about it, which is nice. And one thing I want to say, I want to say thank you on behalf of Oklahoma City, because this news is bad news on the surface, but then to hear you break it down, it's like, oh, this isn't so bad.
And why?
Russ, during the playoff series, I think it's fair to say you would say that most players are dealing with some level of injury throughout it, but were you dealing with anything through that series? And is it something that you'd have to address in the offseason?
It was all right.
Russ, we've got about 5-6 minutes, and nobody's brought up a triple-double. 3 straight years doing that. Have you made that sort of passé where it's not a big deal anymore because you're able to do it so much?
I just play, man. That's it. If it's passé, so be it. It's okay. Let somebody else do it. I tried to. It's all right.
What will your off-season be like? I mean, in terms of just, will it be like the others? I mean, in terms of the work you do, 11 years in, do you take
off-season I had 1
breaks?
kid. This year I have 3. I don't know. It won't be the same.
I know during the season you mentioned that you have a talent for not paying attention to the noise or the talk around you. But what have these past few days been like in terms of that, coming off the series and the way that y'all finished?
What about it?
Just people talking about the Lillard talk, the back and forth in the series.
It doesn't change much, man, honestly. If you want to determine my career and what I've done over 2 or 3 games, you go ahead. That don't mean shit to me. It doesn't. I'm gonna wake up, like I told you before. 3 beautiful kids. I'm gonna wake up, smile, be happy, enjoy my life. It doesn't change anything about who plays bad or who's better, who's not. I know who I am as a person. That's the biggest thing I can say about myself. I know who I am. I know what I'm able to do. I know my capabilities. I know what I've done. I know what I can and can't do. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with who I am. Just be blessed to wake up every day. Enjoy my life. So talk. don't even know what we're talking about, but whatever that is, you guys can keep talking about it, and I'm going to keep living my life.
Visually, how would you improve, and then also, how can you all improve as a unit?
You know, there's different ways that we can improve as a team. Me personally, there's a lot of different ways. Obviously, this year I definitely could have played better, but you know, there's room for improvement every year, and I always find a way to be able to come back better at something and figure out what's better for our team and what's best for our team at the time.
The game has changed a lot even since you came into it, and I wonder if there's any, do you feel like there needs to be any more emphasis on you as a jump shooter, as a three-point shooter? Do you need to get better at that?
Jump shooter or three-point shooter?
Three-point shooter.
There can be emphasis. I mean, you guys can talk about it, but I'll just continue doing what I'm doing, and obviously finding ways to pick and shoot better ones, but that's up to me. But
other than jump shooting, what are some other specific areas about your game that you want to improve coming into next year?
Everything. I always tell you that because I know I can do everything at a high level. So I always find ways to make sure that I'm able to do that. And that's one thing about me, is that, and I think a lot of times, whether it's you guys or whoever it is, people across the world, when you do so much, you got so much you're doing throughout a game, whether it's defending, rebounding, passing. Used to be conversations of I was a ball hog, but now I lead the league in assists for the past 3 years or whatever it is. That's getting squashed out. So now the conversation is about shooting. Next year I'm gonna become a better shooter. After that it'd be probably my left foot is bigger than my right one. Who knows? But to me, that's why I know that when you do so much with the game, you got so much impact on the game. I expect a lot out of myself. Put a lot of pressure on myself to become a very, very great player, because I know that I'm able to do so much throughout a game to impact the game, impact winning. So that's why, back to your point, I don't really care what people say, what they think about me, because it doesn't really matter. I know what I'm able to do and know what I'm able to do at a high level every night, and nobody else can do what I can do on a night-in-night-out basis. And I truly believe that if they could, I'm pretty sure they would. But I know for a fact that nobody can.
Well, that's about a lot since you've been here. Does it drive you? Does it bother you to have gone out in the first round these 3 years?
Bother, yes. Drive, I guess, but I don't really need nothing to drive me to be who I want to be or to be where I want to be. Obviously, me personally, I want to be able to become the best player I can be, and obviously win the championship. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be sitting here talking to you guys at the end of the season, but unfortunately, that's what happened. And with that, you got to go to the drawing board, and me personally always look at myself and how I can be better, whether it's playing a better series, preparing better for the series, preparing better for the season. Obviously, when you lose a series, everybody looks at the series and say, this is the reason why you lost, but that's not ultimately what happens. Throughout a year, there's different things that happen to you, to a team, that can either you got it, you clicking, or you not. So there's a combination of a lot of things, but me personally, I just know that moving and going into next year, I'm gonna just do what I need to do to make sure that I'm.
And one.
Just when you look at your development since your rookie season, what are you most proud of?
My development as a leader. As a leader, I think leadership is one thing that I've taken pride in, and trying to figure out the best way to better lead guys into a position to where I feel like they're most comfortable with their games, instilling confidence in them, finding ways to make other guys better. That's my whole thing. And I feel like I've done a good job of that each year, of making someone or people around me better players. Even if people leave, they still become better players. So I feel like I try to make people better players as much as I can.
And one.
Did your Olympics first year? You talked about how Russell really helped basically change his outlook on training in his body, keeping his body. Has Russell done that to you in any way, or?
Same thing, you know. On some of them, Russ lead by example, you know, like it's all positive what he doing, how he takes care of his body, how he approaches the game. So I try to take all positives, you know, and do it this summer and over my career. And I think I'm talking to Victor Oladipo, you know, on a daily basis as well. So he telling me every time what helped him, you know, and I mean, he's a superstar now too in this league, and I tried to get to the same point.
What, if anything, did you not know about Russell as a competitor that you know about him now as a teammate?
I mean, it's the same thing. Like he, I thought at first when I seen him, I thought he's insane, you know. So he's still doing the same thing. Still think the same thing. How he goes out, you know, to play every game, I think is God's gift. You know, not everybody has that like that to play like that 82 games. Whether he miss or makes or misses shots, you know, he's still competitive and try to help his teammates, you know, go out there and compete and win games. And I think that's really special about him. And I mean, he's a great teammate off the court too. You know, try to keep everyone together. Talks to everyone. I think I didn't know that about him at first. Yeah, just about him.